Hey, what's up, fam? RHAP and all of the other listeners who are brought here today because this is their favorite episode of television. It's me, your host, Chappell, and I am going to be talking to you about Survivor HHH and the Survival Devil in preparation for Survivor 50. And so with me, I had to bring in two people who really, really love Survivor heroes, healers, and hustlers. First up, Kirsten MacInnis. Kirsten.
When are the people who love heroes, healers, and hustlers going to show up?
Stop it. This is your ish. This is your juice.
I wouldn't say it's my ish, but to be fair, like Survivor 35 was definitely like only a few years into me being a Survivor fan. So I feel like I probably don't care. Like, is it great? Is it my favorite? No. But do I like resent it as much as the people who are there from day one do? Probably not.
We know this is Sam's least favorite season, which is questionable, but whatever. We'll get to that later on, probably. Also with us, someone who this is his favorite season, but I know this is his favorite winner of all time, Matt Liguori. Welcome back.
You know what I was thinking about the winner before we got on here, and hi, thanks for having me here. This man, the winner of the season, Ben, he was on the challenge. I forgot about that.
I forgot about that. How did that go?
Challenge USA. I don't think he went very far. My memory on Challenge USA seasons are really foggy. But I was thinking about that, and then I was thinking about his run on Winners at War, watching this episode back, and both of them just feel like a complete fever dream, as does this season. Just like this era of the show, besides the fact that it's been forgotten about up until now for returning players, feels like I've forgotten about it. And sometimes that's a good thing, but it was definitely interesting to go back and see it again.
No, this is a very fun watch for me going back. I did rewatch the season when we did the top 40 countdown. I talked about it with Rob and Jessica Leese. And so I am very familiar with this season, but this episode in particular, I got to sit back and be like, man, Survivor used to be so different. This is the start of the Firemaking challenge. But in a way, it's like, I don't know. It's almost like the end of that era where we had like the themes for every tribe, that kind of thing, heroes, healers, hustlers. Kirsten, I remember people complaining about these themes, and now it seems like the fandom is like, no, wait, bring back the themes.
Yeah, maybe Jeff Probst has a point when he says the fans don't know what they want or they don't fully understand what's going on behind the scenes. Because you know what? At least when there's a zany theme, we can kind of remember what the season was like. It is really difficult for me personally. I know there's Survivor historians out there who maybe don't have as much trouble as me, but like, to parse together who won which new era season or like what order those seasons actually happened, almost impossible for someone like me. And I think I'm probably closer to the average Survivor fan than the like hardcore historians. So bring back themes. Do healers, heroes, hustlers too. They did it with Brain, Beauty, and Brawn. Bring it back.
Point, I mean, I think that I would say I'm part of a group of fans that probably would love to have any kind of theme back, anything to differentiate the seasons as they are now. Like at first I was down 41. Great. Let's do it. Why do we have to keep finding names? But then you don't know what you have until it's gone. And you miss the themes a little bit. You miss the 39 days. At least I do. I know not everybody does, but when they said it was day 30, like 3 or 34, I was like, excuse me? We're allowed to play that many days of Survivor?
No, it's illegal now.
Then. Yeah, not anymore. Not anymore.
You can't do 39-day seasons of Survivor anymore because of woke, obviously.
Right.
Obviously. But yes, and this is our first official new era type Survivor Firemaking challenge at the final four. And this really does set a precedent for what we have in the new era. We got to vote on it, Matt, for the Survivor 50. Do you think the fans are going to bring back this amazing twist that everybody loves so much?
I think I'm starting to get worried that they are. One of the preseason interviews that Mike did, he was talking to one of the contestants, and I'm sorry, I don't remember exactly who it was, but they were like, oh yeah, all the people I talked to wanted to vote for Firemaking. And I'm like, who?
Stop talking to those people.
And I wouldn't be surprised.
It's the thing where you have to balance how likely is the average Survivor watcher to actually vote versus how much does the average Survivor watcher really enjoy like a dramatic moment like Firemaking? Because I do think that people who watch this show in a normal way, unlike us, I don't think they really care that much about if the structure of the game gets messed up or if they're just, it's always Firemaking now. But I just need those people to see the excitement of a Final Four where it's a tie, and that's why firemaking happens. At least have a tie first, please.
The crazy part of watching this particular episode back is knowing what's about to come, like knowing the reality that's about to hit these contestants in the face. Like the decision that they make in this episode, the Ashley Nolan boot, like the mindset that Chrissy has of like, oh, there's still 2 more tribal councils that we can get Ben at. Knowing what's to come, that no, you can't, no, you can't is crazy.
Okay,
Yeah.
There's a few things in this episode that I would like to talk about.
Please.
Sorry, not to take over, but first of all,
No.
can we please talk about the pairings in the rewards challenge at the beginning? Because I feel like Mike and Ryan as a pairing is literally hateful.
It's iconic. And for them to do poorly, and then Dr. Mike later on being like, this guy Ryan sucks. He can't do anything. I was like, I watched that challenge. Neither of you could do anything.
Yeah, and at least we got some drama out of all of it with the, I mean, look, classic Survivor tale situation of whoever's picking the last person to go on the reward. Sometimes somebody else wants to go, and again, Ashley, the person that got booted in this episode, really wanted to go on this reward. Was very upset. I mean, might have been a warning sign that that her boy Devin wasn't going to stick with her in the way that he doesn't with the vote either. But yeah, just I don't know. I was paying attention to a reward challenge, an immunity challenge. It's interesting to go back,
especially when none of this matters because Ben is just going to keep finding idols. When I think about HHH, sometimes you want to say like, was this season rigged? But then when you watch episodes like this, you're like hearing people like Chrissy, our future Survivor 50 player, say, I could follow Ben. I'm just not going to. I don't feel the need to do that. I don't think I should follow him.
He's not going to find another.
He's not going to find it. Surely he's not going to find another one. So at some point, I'm like, I mean, you could have stopped this, Kirsten. They could have put a stop to this. Just follow Ben.
I mean, why not both, right? Like they could have followed him, but also to me, it felt very strange in this episode when Ben is looking for idols and there's just like a big thing on the tree pointing down with an arrow to the no, like it could not have been more obvious, and yet I guess he's the only person going for a walk at all. So at what point did they just play themselves? But it felt like they wanted him to find it, but maybe they just wanted anyone to find it and no one else was looking.
And Mike said he tried. He said, Dr. Mike, he said, I was out there, I looked, I couldn't find it, it's not there. Ben's not gonna find it.
Right.
Did he have his
so Ben
on?
surely will not find it. Yeah. Because Dr. Mike didn't find it. He said, there is no idol out there. Meanwhile, like Kirsten said, there's a sign that says idol right here on the side of a tree. And we see, Ben waking up first thing in the morning. He's up. He goes looking. By the time Chrissy and the rest of the crew start talking, they're like, yeah, I think he's been looking for about an hour and a half, an hour 45. I was like, hey guys, this is your game slipping away and no one is following this man. I think that was the most infuriating thing about watching the season.
What else did they have to do? Like
nothing.
they even had rice at this point in time. So they have at least a baseline nourishment that their brain, like the synapses should be firing. And yet they're like, let him search for an hour and a half. He's only played how many idols up to this point? It feels like 7. I know that's not an accurate number, but it's how it feels.
My question for you guys, if I may, is like, I understand that, they're really highlighting Ben throughout the entire course of like this part of the season because he's winning all the idols and we know how the story is going to end. But I was, obviously watching this, expecting it to be like the Chrissy episode. It's airing for a reason. And it wasn't until like 2/3 into the episode that Chrissy even got like a highlight as far as like, here's what my plan is going to be tonight. Here's what I want to do. And even still, like, I mean, I was paying extra attention to her because of that, but I was just like, there was no better episode of the season that highlighted Chrissy. I was a little confused about that.
Well, there had to be a better episode for Chrissy. Like this was bad for her because even not knowing that the firemaking was going to happen, right? Mm-hmm. The fact that she at all is considering like not voting Ben as like the first target, I feel like is a big indictment on her game. Like, oh, we'll have 2 more chances to get rid of him is certifiable when it's someone like the way they're talking, like Dr. Mike is talking about Ben is like, this man has a ferocity that's outside of the game. Like it has to be him. And like, Chrissy's the only one who's like, nah, it's fine. He can stay. And it's like,
And it's not just themselves that they're talking to, but they're talking in front of the jury like that. So like you're giving the jury this narrative as if they don't already have it, but you're feeding into it to say like, we all know that Ben's the biggest threat. But yeah, I mean, the whole story of this part of the season, nobody can stop him. And for a little bit in this episode, it felt like maybe nobody was going to try to stop him because we could just do it later.
Yeah, I've been listening to the preseason interviews, and a lot of people are talking about narratives. And I think HHH is like the prime example of what that looks like, where you prop somebody up in front of the jury so much to where you've now made them the person that you have to take out to win. We saw the same thing with Rachel. You know, Rachel orchestrated her, her funeral or whatever, so that people could hear everybody talking good about her and just talking about how much of a threat she was. But these people are doing this unprovoked. They're sitting around like, yeah, we'd be crazy to let Ben go to the end. He has a ferocity that transcends his game and blah, 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 blah. And so when he goes and he's doing his Ben bombs, I'm like, Chrissy, I'm rolling my eyes. I'm like, we know, like, we get it. We weren't even voting for you. It's not that big of a deal. But it doesn't matter because you already told everybody all the reasons why you should be voting for him and trying to get him out. So maybe Chrissy takes something from that, Matt, and a narrative is something that she's really going to try to lean on for this season 50.
I mean, you may as well. Like, we're all telling the story together. I mean, we're telling the story right now on this podcast about how we watched the episode. And if anybody didn't watch the episode, they're just watching the podcast. We're giving them the story from our perspectives. Like, that's just how it works. So you would think it's a pretty basic thing to understand going into a season. And I should say, like, very basic to understand for these returning players that are hoping to do better this time. And that certainly seems like something that Chrissy can take into season 50. But yeah, this time around, I mean, if nothing else, I totally forgot that she had that moment of when Ben's doing the Ben bombs and she's like rolling her eyes. Like, I don't think we need to be all dramatic about this. Like, well, this is too much. And it's like, well, that's also part of the narrative of like, it's clearly getting to you and the jury can tell like, oh, this guy is really playing the game. He's pissing off everybody around him and they can't do anything to stop him. So, I mean, it's never in question that Ben's going to win once he's sitting there.
Yeah. Kirsten, you had pointed out that there has to be a better Chrissy episode. And I think the finale is the better Chrissy episode, but she loses.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing, right? Like, she doesn't win. And the editing of the season is so lopsided, right? Like, I feel like after HHH is over, that is when we get all of this discourse in the fandom. Chrissy was so robbed. She played such a better game. She's amazing. And like, maybe I'm misremembering. I don't remember her getting as much credit in the week to week. And I think that that's because of how it was so Ben-centric in the edit. And it's very much something where it's absolutely, it's real that she was a great player, but I'm really curious now to see what people's perception of her will be on 50 when we get to see her in this new arena. And something that really struck me about Chrissy's preseason interview with Mike is she talked about how, on HHH, there was really nobody as later days as her, not that she was later days at the time or now, but that just the average age now of season 50, she feels like she'll just be able to get along with people better. And like, people didn't really want to talk to her. So I wonder if it was just kind of impossible to show her the true strength of her strategic game. Because everyone's like she's like rolling her eyes at the Ben bombs, but I'm picturing everyone else on the beach just rolling their eyes every time she tries to talk to them.
It's probably fair. The annoying thing about podcasting is that all of our bad opinions are solidified on the air, right? We've all said some things that we look back like, I was wrong about that player.
Hey, speak for yourself.
Matt, please, I will air your shit out in front of everybody right now.
Say it. Say it.
Name names. But I think that like we do have a time capsule of like what people were thinking back then, and I remember it was I remember where I was watching HHH. I actually went to my first RHAP live event. It was in Austin, and I went out there by myself because I didn't know anybody, and I just I paid for the expensive VIP tickets. I wanted to get like a t-shirt, and I was so nervous. And I watched the Lauren Rimmer boot, and I will tell you, there's the episode prior to this one. I will tell you, nobody was rooting for Chrissy. Nobody was rooting for Chrissy in this episode. Nobody was. The fandom was not largely behind, well, someone's got to stop Ben. Maybe it'll be Chrissy. the finale is really the thing that pushes her to the forefront because
Mhm.
she does, tie this immunity record for women in Survivor. And then she does basically get screwed over by a twist that we'd never seen before that felt very convenient, And so I think that really galvanized the fan base to say, like, no, Chrissy was robbed. But I've always maintained Devin was probably robbed.
Devin was
more
going to
than
win.
Chrissy.
Yeah. I mean, I
Yeah.
think that's kind of clear, or has been made clear as the years have gone on, that Devin was the one that was a little bit more screwed over at the end of this. Obviously, I think the thing for Chrissy is because she's the one that's sitting there. Nobody could have planned for this, right? So nobody could have adjusted. Like maybe she wouldn't have wanted either of the two of them there. I don't know. But yeah, it's such a weird specific place in the history of the show as well. I mean, 34 is Game Changers. This is 35, and then 36 Ghost Island. It's not the best
Dark
run,
Ages.
right? Yeah. And so of course like 37 is going to come along and we're like, oh, Survivor's fun again, we forgot. But like during this time, I mean, I think it was a lot of really like trying to find anything that we were enjoying about Survivor or about like what the seasons could have to offer. At the end of the day, like personally, I'm still sticking by no matter what to see what's going on. But it was a weird stretch, not having characters that you could really like super cling on to. I guess Devin at this point is the biggest example because I agree with you guys that like I don't think Chrissy was that person for the masses, maybe for some people. But it was weird. Yeah.
Kirsten, I feel like we had Rimmer fever back then. I feel like everybody was behind Lauren Rimmer.
Certainly on the podcast, I feel like how does the podcast relate to the like Gen Pop? I don't know, but yeah, I feel like people really love Lauren Rimmer. I was a big Dr. Mike fan at the time, which is why I didn't say anything when Matt said, "Oh, he's never had a bad opinion."
Listen, it happens.
Here's my winner pick going into the finale. This is one of the seasons I had done the power rankings for, and I found it. And myself, Mike Bloom, and Liana Boris were power ranking. The two of them had Devin as their winner pick. I said no, it's Dr. Mike going into the finale. Look, you don't always get the edit right, but it was just, I mean, who could have predicted that Ben was going to do this?
Meanwhile, I was just praying that Desi would come back from Redemption Island and somehow with the season. I was like, please get her on my screen again.
This is the era where we started to say like almost every season, like, is this the hottest Survivor jury ever? Is this the hottest Survivor jury ever? And then this one walked in and I was like, one after another after another.
I've seen her in person, I think one time. And I think I literally just was stared at her and was like, you're so beautiful. I think I literally said, oh my God, you're so beautiful. And nothing else. Did not introduce myself, did not say, oh, I liked you. I said, you're so beautiful, and walked away. I was like, I can't be in her presence. She's perfect.
The challenge, that's challenge champ Desi to all of you.
There you go. Yes. No, we've come so far. We really have from the HHH era, but I mean, a lot of things what we saw in this season will go on to dictate how Survivor will move forward. We will see Ben play again and, make a big splash in Survivor 40, Matt.
Big splash on the way out,
more like splash in and then on the way out kind of just like go,
like crawling your way out of the shallow end of the pool, like for some reason. Yeah, I don't know what that was. But Chrissy's here for season 50, and that's gonna, I think, go a lot better. Even if the results happens to be worse than Ben's finishing placement, Chrissy, just from the preseason interviews, you can tell is here to play. Has been thinking about this game for years to get her chance to come back. And so just like even seeing her in this episode for the parts that we did see her in this episode, she's locked in. She's always locked into the game. She's always thinking through what the next step is. This boot is dictated by her. Like she is the one who says Ashley is a better move right now. We're probably there is the narrative of like, we can get Ben next time or the time after that. But she's also like, both of them are big concerns to me. And Ashley has a lot of social connections. So I do need to take care of her at some point. May as well try to get it done now. And everybody just ends up going along with it. So, again, she is always playing. She's always going to be playing. So, if the point of this was to get us hyped up, obviously it was for this one character going into the season, then sure. Yeah. I mean, I get it. I know why Chrissy got cast.
Yeah. And she says this time she wants to have more fun. Kirsten, it does not look like she had fun the first time. Like from week to week, people, I mean, even watching the show, like even the cast, the interviews people were doing afterward, the exit press was like kind of brutal to her. And so I'm hoping that now that she's like, I played it once, I came in super serious, but now this time, this cast is a little wacky too. Maybe she can lean in on that a little bit more.
Yeah, and she is an actuary, so she knows about numbers and math, and I'm sure that she's done the calculations in her head at what her, percentage chance or what any given player's chance of actually winning season 50 is, especially with 24 players. And I think that when you are kind of freed from like the necessity of like, I need to lock in and I need to win and there's no other option, I think that's where you can get a little goofy. You can have a little fun. And honestly, I think all of that will only make her more successful than if she comes across as like extremely like game focused.
Yeah, I could see that for sure. I want to talk about some of the people who we could see her aligning with maybe, but I do one more thing about this episode. Um, we've forgotten that Ben played as Idol before it was time to play as Idol. Matt, I forgot this happened in this episode. I might have forgotten that it happened altogether, but for Ben to just stand up and be like, "Hey, I'm playing my Idol now," before we even get to the votes, before we get to anything, I don't think Jeff Probst is letting that happen these days.
No, maybe not. But the Ben bombs were, attracting an audience, and Jeff included. So it was kind of like, what's this guy going to do next? And literally any theatrical show that he was putting on, he was entertaining himself. I don't know if you could say he was entertaining everybody at home, because not everybody was having the same reaction to him that maybe the jury was, of like, oh, this is fun. Like, look at him go. But he was doing something.
Yeah. I don't think Jeff Probst should have confirmed that it was real. I think if he wants to hand it to Jeff before they vote, sure, whatever, have your moment. I think it goes completely against the integrity of the game that Jeff confirmed that it was real and said, well, if you vote for him, it won't count. Like, who's writing Ben down after you've already confirmed it's real? Like, at least be like, well, now it might not count if you vote for Ben. Like, I'm sorry. This happened so long ago. I need to calm down. But it really did piss me off today watching it back.
Yeah. Of all the egregious things that put the integrity of the game of Survivor in question this season, I love how this is the one that kind of like slips in, the one people forget. Like, okay, fine. Ben finds 4 idols back to back. Cool. It's believable. Chrissy, wins this advantage. That's not an advantage, or Devin, doesn't get an advantage. Whatever. Fine. Firemaking challenge pops out of nowhere. Fine. But then I remember, oh yeah, he did play his idol early. He basically like used it like as an immunity necklace, where it was like any votes, or like you basically can't vote for Ben, which is not how the game is played, right? That you should give people the chance to try to split the vote or something like that. It's like, nope. Now we can just all pile on Ashley. And so she's really one of the first people that is screwed by the wonkiness in HHH. Not that it didn't seem like she was going to be able to get out of it, but it doesn't really leave her a lot of options at that point. Who else were they going to vote for if not, if not Ben,
well, Ben tried. He tried to say, if you guys want to go back to camp with me, let's vote down Dr. Mike. And he's trying to pitch that to Ashley. That gets passed across to Devin. Didn't work out, but
yeah, I find it very interesting that got no traction whatsoever. Actually,
yeah. I think Ashley voted for Mike, and then Ben voted for Ashley. It's like, hey man, what are you doing? Like, I'm actually trying to throw you a bone here. Let's go. And you just threw me out to dry.
Well, he had to be on the right side of the vote, Chappell. He needed them all to stay. I'm with you, Ben. We're going back to camp together. Let's vote Mike. And then they could have voted for Mike.
Yeah, and they really pushed Ben into playing that idol early. They were like pissing him off. They were talking mad shit about him. I think his Mike's like, well, Ben, you've been telling lies and, all this kind of stuff. And so he had no choice.
Let's also, I mean, we haven't really touched on the title of the episode, but the reason for the title of the episode, The Survivor Devil, comes off the back of Ben at the last tribal council in the previous episode when Lauren Rimmer gets voted out by, I think, not also by one vote. I think by one vote. I think it was Ben's vote, right? And Devin is like, oh, that's the work. If there's survivor gods, this is the work of the survivor devil. So just, right away, you're reminded of the perception that these people have of what is happening with Ben in the game. It's just all bad.
The more I think about this episode, the more I'm kind of questioning everything I thought I knew about the Survivor preseason. Kirsten, I know you said Chrissy was pointing out how there were no people her age for her to talk to, but like, is Dr. Mike that much younger than Chrissy? Is Lauren Rimmer that much younger than Chrissy?
I do also agree with Rob that people were lying to Mike right in his face in the preseason. So, that could be it. Um, I need to say something as well. So after I finished watching this, the finale started auto playing, as
Mhm.
happens when you're watching TV. And in the voiceover for the season, Jeff Probst says that Ben was playing like a strategic game, like really emphasized him as a strong strategic threat. And I just wanted to get both of your opinions on that for the
Narrative.
record.
You say it and it's true.
I think about 4 episodes ago, I would say that Ben was in a good spot strategically. He had like Chrissy and the crew, they were all together, and then they realized that he was running away with the game. And so they
Yeah.
all flipped on him. And then from there, none of his strategy mattered anymore. It was just like, I need to find an idol and I need to win the immunity, and then I'll go from there. And then I think everything else starts to fall apart. Now, could he have done more creative things with the idol and maybe brought some people over if he was more strategic? Maybe, but I wouldn't say that the mark of Ben's game from anybody's perspective, looking back at HHH, was, oh, he was an iconic strategist. He might have been good strategically, but I don't think that's the narrative that runs his game, Matt.
No, it's really, I guess you could just point to like, oh, he's looking for the idol while nobody else is, because he's making it clear in his confessional, I am aware that when an idol gets played, it's going to go back into the game. Meanwhile, just about everybody else is either not following him or not looking for the idol. So is that strategy? I mean, yeah, within like the confines of like the rules of the game and figuring out the game, but not like within the rest of the group of the people or anything like that. So, Jeff is going to Jeff.
And he be Jeffin. So, Kirsten, let's say Chrissy has watched this season back and she's learned some things about how she could do this differently. Do you think Chrissy is just out looking for idols from day one?
I mean, that's where it gets complicated because, like, she should be, but then there's also like the very interesting discussion about how idol searches are considered when a man does it versus when a woman does it. So I think everyone's going to be out searching from day one. I think if anything, it will be like entire tribes are all searching all at once, and you would be so dumb not to go. Like, if your whole tribe is looking, what, you're going to stay back at camp alone? Insanity.
But the fans voted, Kirsten, and whether or not there will be idols on this season were a part of the vote. Could you imagine going out and just spending days upon days looking for an idol, and then you watch the season back and find out that there was actually none in the game?
Yeah, if they don't tell them, that's diabolical.
I mean, I think that you have to. Well, I don't think that they're going to tell them the results of any of the votes, because I feel like Jeff in interviews has been talking about how like people could use misinformation about that to, I don't know, cause
we're gonna
chaos.
watch people run around the jungle looking for idols that aren't there.
I mean, they won't show us that much of it. Like, I'm sure that they'll show us
might.
them looking, but I don't think that it'll be. I don't know. They got a lot of time to fill.
And even if there's not idols, we'll have some kind of search for something.
But yeah, this is the thing anyways, right? Like, okay, whether there's idols or not idols, we don't know. But we know there's a Billie Eilish boomerang idol, which means that there's stuff for them to be looking for. I could see, and this is where it's so cheap, because I could see them being like, oh, everybody voted for no idols, so there will be beware advantages at every camp. And it's like, well, it's not an idol. It's not technically. You think Jeff Probst is allowing them to have no immunity idols in season 50?
Ain't no way. Ain't no way.
A chance.
But the final 4 Firemaking challenge is up for vote as well. Matt, if they don't tell them, is that better or worse for the game if they're just allowing them to move through the game? Because for me, I need to know as a fan. I want them to tell me. They need to tell me episode 1, there's no Firemaking this season. Because if we hit another moment where, I don't know, I'm just going to pull a random name out of if Jonathan Young has won like 4 challenges in a row and we need to get him out at the final 4, and then it's like, oh, and Firemaking, we voted for that. It's like, did we really vote for that? Or are y'all just saying we voted for that because y'all need good Jonathan Young to make it one more round? Like, I think we need to know. I don't care if they know.
I guess I don't care if they know, but I would probably rather, if you add, like, if it was up to me, I would rather that they know so that they could play the most optimally for themselves, and not, be sitting here in exit interviews being like, well, this didn't work out for me because I didn't have all the information. Like, it's a lot easier if people just know the game that they're about to play. But I don't know. I think it's also, there's so many players out there that I can't even imagine if they're thinking that far into, their game plans. Obviously, when the time comes, they will be. But you could just get the sense from all of these preseason interviews that everybody is just like, hoping to make it through the beginning stage of the game. And if they get there, that'll be that part of the game's problem. And honestly, that's kind of how I feel as a fan watching the show. If we make it through the beginning and enough of my faves are still in that I'm still invested, then I'll worry about the Firemaking later.
Yeah, Kirsten, is HHH a better season if they had at least told us about the Firemaking beforehand?
I think it's probably the same season, but I guess it's possible that other different choices would have been made along the line. I'm trying to think back, like, how many rounds in a row was Ben safe due to an idol or winning immunity? Because I feel like it was a lot. Like, I don't think they could have. I don't think they could have stopped him unless they got rid of him basically pre-merge, and I just don't think that was ever on the table.
Yeah, for me, I think the question of whether or not this is rigged really comes from we didn't know about the Firemaking. So it does kind of appear that Chrissy or Devin have this in the bag if they can beat Ben. We go through that journey with them in that finale. We see them beat Ben only to find out that is not the case, right? And so I think that's my issue. It always has been my issue, is just the lack of transparency in the game, because now we can always question, whether or not this was the case and whether or not they were always going to do this twist. And so tell at the beginning of Survivor 50, I would like to know everything. And I don't care if the survivors know anything. I don't care if they're looking for idols and there are no idols. I don't care. It doesn't bother me at all. I just want to know everything so that we don't have to look back and be like, well, Survivor 50 has an asterisk because, some things they made up in the middle. Like, if they just pull out fire tokens all of a sudden, then I'm like, all right, I'm leaving.
Yeah.
I mean, I think fire tokens is like the one thing that Jeff has accepted was a failed experiment. So I think we're marked safe from fire tokens, but not from basically any other tragedy that could occur.
And hopefully those tragedies don't land on Cirie. Before we wrap up, though.
See, that's the thing. It doesn't matter what the twists are. I'm worried about Cirie every single day until she has $1 million check in her hand. And I fear that there is no other outcome to this season that could please me.
She's got anyway. Yeah, like that's a separate podcast. But before we wrap, Chrissy survives this episode. She does go on to narrowly lose based on a twist that people didn't love, but she's back to play Survivor 50. Matt, how do you think this season is going to go for Chrissy? Who can you see her working with? How far do you see her going in the game? What are your predictions for season 50 for Chrissy?
Yeah, not specific people that I can see her working with, but I mean, I think a lot of people are talking about the sweet spot that season 30, the 30s players are in, just because they can go to either side of the spectrum of the new era, the old era, and play with whoever there's an opportunity for them to play with. So I think that that's going to be great for her. I don't know. I guess the age thing could certainly come into factor. There's people that are just closer to her age, and less people that are as young as 23-year-old Devin and 23-year-old Ryan Ulrich, which was shocking to me to see that they were that young. I thought they were a little bit older. But yeah, I think this definitely, I mean, also, we are paying attention to Chrissy before we even get to the season with this episode. So I'm like, I got my eye on her to do pretty well. I don't know about like winning. I think that could be tough. It's interesting because we have a whole season of like the perception that this cast has of her. Going into season 50, I imagine that like the perception is probably better than it was when we first met her, because a lot of people have respect for her game and a lot of people have become friendly with her over the years. And I think that if she plays this game well enough to get to the end, they're going to have that same respect. But there's just, of course, she's up against here a lot of really likable people, a lot of respectable players. So that could be tough. But I think this episode just reminded us, even with the little sliver of Chrissy's strategy, that she does have the chops. So, don't be worried about that.
Kirsten, how is Chrissy going to do? For some reason, I have this image of her and financial analyst Emily Flippin linking up and just pointing at each other and be like, no, wait, you're an actuary. Okay, cool. So is that the final two? Like, what are we doing?
I mean, that's the thing too, where it's like when people are super similar in any way, where they either get along really well or they hate each other. I think it is a sick joke that she is on the same starting tribe as Rick Devens after playing a whole season with Ben and all those idols. And they said, put her with Devens. Like, because he's the next person who really is like finding all this stuff.
She'll know how to do it this time.
She'll at least follow him.
Yeah.
Right?
Or like intensely.
I'm sorry, I know this all happened in the past, but like if we get a scene of someone going on an idol search and Chrissy sitting at camp going, I don't need to follow them, I will have a nervous breakdown.
You know, the interesting part I was thinking about, if Ben didn't end up winning this season, if he got at some point, we'd probably be watching Chrissy and Ben both be back for season 50.
Potentially. Yeah,
I think.
potentially.
I mean, if Chrissy also happens to lose, say Devin wins the game, Chrissy's, the RHAP player, and Ben's still doing the Ben bombs. I think both of them stand out, and we're probably looking at both as people that you would have expected to get the call. I'm not saying like everybody's like dying for that to happen for Ben, but he would have been on the list. Ben on the list.
I mean, was he? Do we know for sure he wasn't on the list anyway, or
For
it
50?
was just
I mean,
they
I don't
didn't
know
want
about winners,
anyone from
but-
40 on 50?
With the casting, the way it turned out, who knows what they were thinking? But no one can say HHH didn't give us anything because it kept that from happening, you know. So that's it. That's our conversation about the Survivor Devil. Matt, thank you for joining me to talk about Survivor. We don't get to do this often about Survivor.
No, there's a million other shows that we do get to talk about, which is always fun, but Survivor, not so much. So this was a great time. I do want to say last thing here, the Survivor Devil obviously becomes like a big RHAP meme staple. I mean, kind of like if you know, you know. I'm not going to do it justice of explaining why that's the case, but when I saw the episode title, I was like, wow, that brings me back. So,
well, it's the Sweet 16 of RHAP, so that totally makes sense to kind of look back and reminisce on these days that brought us here. I think the Wandoff becomes a huge thing during HHH as well. They voted out the douchey guy, still lives rent free in my head, and so yeah, a large part of I guess my fandom here at RHAP is, you know, kind of aligned with HHH in some way, shape, form, or fashion. So I'm happy that we got to go back and look over this episode and kind of reminisce about those early days. But let's see if it starts to give us more to talk about for Survivor 50. Matt, what are you talking about if you're not talking about Survivor here with us?
Yeah, I'm talking about old school seasons of The Challenge on the Free Agents podcast with Brian Scally. So we're rewatching all the old school seasons and also talking about the traders over there. So lots of fun stuff coming up. Talking to Sam Phelan this week over there about the traders. Talked to Franny last week. And then also talking about all things Big Brother on the Diary Room podcast. Chappell was just on with us. We're trying to find the best player in Big Brother history with a bracket style competition. So check that out. We're just about at the end of the first round. So the Diary Room, Free Agents, that's where you can find me.
All right, thanks, Matt. And Kirsten, where can people find you and what are you working on?
Yes, listen to Mess Magnets. Myself and Sasha Joseph are talking pop culture, celebrity gossip, trending topics. Had a really great episode come out this week, and you can follow me pretty much everywhere at Kirsten Said What.
All right, and as far as I'm concerned, you can catch me on Recap Kickback, my podcast where I talk about whatever I want to talk about. And there's a lot that I want to talk about these days. Mari and I have been talking about A Night of the Seven Kingdoms with our most recent guest, Taryn Armstrong. So check that out if you are a Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon, or a Night of the Seven Kingdoms fan. We got a whole podcast series over there just for you. Gia and I still talk about Abbott Elementary every other week, and we are doing some Survivor coverage, talking about Survivor Marquesas in the next couple weeks. So check that out as we dive into Vesepia Towery as a Survivor winner. Latanya and I are talking about It, Welcome to Derry as well. Full spoilers, but we're getting into the Easter eggs over there on that Stephen King property. So that's a good time. Check that out. And I think Jason Reed and Anthony from the Talking Ish podcast joined me to talk about Wonder Man recently. I'm trying to get together a panel to do some other conversations. I think there's an America's Next Top Model documentary coming up. So tune in to Recap Kickback for all of that and more. Subscribe, recapkickback.com/subscribe. But that's it for Matt and Kirsten and myself. Thank y'all for listening, and hopefully y'all are here for Survivor 50. Until next time, peace.
This is RHAP. We know reality TV.